The strength of a single story. People often ask me, have you always been purpose-driven? And the answer is yes, although I've always wanted to do something to empower people. And so since I was, I say 3, but I don't know how old I was, I've wanted to represent women and children. So I went to school, I became a lawyer, became an advocate. But at that time I thought, well, I don't want to represent them in court. I don't want to go to a place where they might get a yes verdict in court, but it can't be implemented, in the world they live in. And so I asked myself, so why did I actually want to empower women and children? What is it that I've been looking for? And I realized that I didn't like the fact that we're always ostracized. They're always discriminated against in society. And so I wanted to build up their capacity so that they could stand economically independent. So that through money, through finance, through independence, they could have a voice. And so that got me thinking, wait a second. So that could be anyone really. I'm Tanzanian. In Tanzania, it's not just women and children, it's also young men and men. Just as a nation, there are people who need capacity building. And so I started this track in human resources and human resource development. And then I moved into change management. And so for the past 12, 13 years, I have been moving in building capacity. And every year or so, people meet me that hadn't seen me for a little while, and they ask me, are you still doing the same thing? I say, yeah. And that's the strength of a single story. I am here to empower people, equip them so they can stand socioeconomically independent, so they can get into positions of leadership and make a change, so they can transform the sphere of influence. This is what I'm out to do. And so how do I show this single story? How do I maintain it? So much has happened. My purpose has unfolded as I've gone along. How do I continue on this trajectory? I do this every single day. With every decision I make, I choose purpose. With every invitation, I look out for empowering people. I look out for educating, equipping people. I look out for how will this touch recipients so that they become socioeconomically independent, so that they can be leaders who in turn transform other people who can transform the spheres of influence. The strength of a single story. Having this single story, living it consistently, has also attracted people who have similar stories. It's been a vision that other people have also found they really want to rally behind. Like when you have circles that overlap, we found that my interests, either to a small degree, a large, or completely merges with other people's interests. And so the strength of a single story is that people have tracked me over the years. And each phase of my life, I have met others who share this interest. Oftentimes I've had people who traveled from wherever they were in the diaspora, and they come back home, they say, what you have been talking about for the past 10 years has resonated with me. The strength of a single story. There are times, even in business, where some people were thinking of doing unscrupulous deals and they thought of involving me. When they found out who I am and what I stand for, they would tell each other, oh no, not Modesta. Don't look for her. Modesta stands for this thing and this thing alone. Don't get her involved in that. She's just about this one story, this one angle. Just today I met with some people and they said, so how long have you been doing this? And I said, well, 12, 13 years, and I'm probably going to do it till the day I leave. Because until I see our people empowered and able to transform the lives of the people around them, able to get Tanzania to be the leading economy in Africa like I know it should be, this remains my story. So I'd urge you as well, find your story, find your angle, and look for ways to make expression of it in everything you do. And stay the track. If you have a vision you've been running with for 10 years, a vision that is still in the realizing, well, continue with that. You don't need to deviate. You don't need to change with the times, as people say. Continue on that trajectory, because that makes your personal brand, because that is your identity, because that is the niche you've cut out for yourself that everybody will associate you with. So start today. Take time, take pen and paper and ask yourself, what is my story? What is that one thing that people associate me with? What is that one thing that I want to do and focus on consistently in life? It doesn't mean that you will be bored. It's not a job, but it is a cause. It is an agenda that you want to champion. It will express itself differently, but it will always be that one thing that you do, that one thing you stand on. And so I've gone from learning about representing people to building people's capacity. And next thing, I want to learn about policy reform and legislative reform so that I can create the environment in which these transformed people can really thrive. But it's still the same story, that I want to support other people, empower them, to be purpose-driven, to be value-based, to be sacrificial servant leaders who give the best of themselves to transform the world around them. And then they pass on the baton to the next people to do the same. This is my challenge to you. This is my single story. I'd like to hear yours. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us, post, share on numerous platforms on purpose and excellence. I'd like to hear all your stories. It is so important to have a story that reminds you what you are about and where you're going, but a story that distinguishes you from everybody else. That will be the legacy that you leave to this world. There is such strength in a single story. Asanteni sana. Kwaherini.